This evening, let's defend your mind to meditate free from demonic influence. An individual on Reddit asked, are demons influencing us as we meditate? So let's explore that. First, any graduate of Philosophy 101 would first ask, what's the definition of a demon? Is it figurative or is it literal? When it comes to demons, I love the depiction found in the movie Constantine, starring Keanu Reeves. In it, as the scene from the image on the center of your screen, they lack a mid and upper brain capable only of living from fear, living from their amygdala, if you will. So this brings us to the neuroscience of meditation. Just because we call something a meditation doesn't make it meditation. When we were kids, we sang of Yankee Doodle who stuck a feather in his cap and called it macaroni. I have never confused a bird's feather for a posture treat. How about you? So, when we practice meditation in harmony with the Buddha's instructions, in harmony with the instructions known as the 7 enlightenment factors, we see something that is incredibly congruent with our contemporary understanding of neuroscience. Neuroscience teaches us that every time we breathe in, whether we know it or not, we are accessing our sympathetic nervous system, which is evolved not for active concentration, but instead for perception, practiced vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. We are so wired to passively notice sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like, including emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. Now, what are we to do with those things that we notice? Neuroscience also teaches us that every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we are accessing our parasympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to cause us to mentally release and physically relax. When that happens, well, amazing things occur, including the electrical activity pooling in the bottom of our brain in the fear center called the amygdala relocates up and a little bit forward to the seat of empathy in the brain known as the anterior cingulate gyrus. That frees us from the tyranny of malicious, destructive emotions that could lead us to do very bad things. And so, if a demonic is a real thing that stokes the fires of fear and anger and selfishness and the like, or if it's just merely a metaphor for those same drives, those same impulses, then meditation can free us from the tyranny of those impulses. But what about belief? What if belief wasn't just an emotion or just an idea, but the two wrapped together, kind of like the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop? Excuse me, I've got a lot of postnasal drip this evening. So meditation does not stop us from experiencing emotions or intentions or thoughts or memories or imaginings, but it stops those things from controlling our choices and our utterances and our deeds. Remember, as we breathe in, we can notice what's ever going on, whether that which is going on is external or internal or physical or mental or pleasurable or painful or interesting or boring or glorious or grotesque. We're able to notice it as we breathe in, and as we breathe out, our brain is wired to let go. That doesn't mean the impulse or the thought or the emotion goes away. It means it loses its ability to control us. Did you know it's impossible to relax and lose your temper at the same time? They're at cross purposes. It's a cross wiring situation. So when we meditate correctly, demonic emotions, real or imagined, cannot control us. Demonic impulses, demonic thoughts, real or imagined, cannot control us. Consider, if you will, the last time you watched a duck at the pond. Due to the natural oils secreted by their skin, water beads off a duck's feathers. Water rolls off the back of a duck. A duck lives its life in water. It is an aquatic fowl, and yet it is not soggy. So similarly, we experience perceptions, emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and emotions. We experience these things, real or imagined, demonic or heavenly, but we're not controlled by them due to the healthy workings of our autonomic nervous system. I look forward to chanting and meditating with you in approximately 60 seconds. This is the Mukasey Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the kindness of patrons of patrons on Patreon. That's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it? If you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as transformatively as General Leia Organa on Ajahn Kloss under the guidance of Luke Skywalker, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Bit of good news. If at any point during this evening's live stream you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply it to your life, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. Unless, of course, you're watching on a smartphone, then you'll want to type your question in the description area below the video. I think it could be great fun to start this evening's formal practice by chanting the Saturday evening excerpt of the final meditation manual penned by the late great Tibetan saint Dzal Patrul Rinpoche way back in the 1800s. Together. What use is rushing around, coming and going, just tires you out. Look how far your wandering is taking you from Dharma. Now you had better just settle down and relax your mind. Staying put, carefree and at ease, rest out the six-syllable mantra. You know, I think it could be fun if, quick like a penny, I put in a picture of the autonomic nervous system, or at least a diagram. think a picture would be rather squishy and nasty looking. What use is all you have eaten? It all just turned into excrement. Look how insatiable your appetite has been. Now you had better nourish yourself with the food of some money. Quit all that eating and drinking and recite the six-syllable mantra. What use are all your thoughts? They have just brought more delusion. Look how few of all your aims you've managed to achieve. Now for this life's concerns you had better not think too far ahead. Dropping all your plans, recite the six-syllable mantra. What use is all you own? Property is just clinging. Look how soon you could leave whatever you have got behind. Now you had better put an end to your possessive grasping. Ceasing to hold and acquire things, recite the six-syllable mantra. What use is all the time you have slept? It was all just spent in a stupor. Look how easily your life is running out in slothful indolence. Now you had better start to exert yourself wholeheartedly. Day and night spurning all distractions, recite the six-syllable mantra. There is no time, there is no time to rest. When suddenly death is upon you, what will you do? Now you had better start practicing the sublime dharma right away. Now quicker recite the six-syllable mantra. Whew, that was invigorating. We come now to Ting Tong Gyalpo's all-pervading benefit of beings, the recitation and meditation of the Great Compassionate One. This was translated from the Tibetan into French by Bokar Rinpoche, translated from the French into English by Christine Boucher, and adapted as well as amplified by yours truly. Let's start by exercising the neural pathways responsible for empathy and enthusiasm. May I liberate all beings by relying on the three jewels. What do we mean by the three jewels? Whether the Buddha was real or merely archetypical, the three jewels are simple. They consist of the Buddha's example and instructions attributed to him, and the students who've made it their life's mission to master those teachings. May I liberate all beings by relying on the three jewels. May I liberate all beings by relying on the three jewels. We're going to contemplate the iconography of the archetype of enlightenment. We do this so that when we meditate upon the 8 metaphors, there is more meaning behind it. Above myself and all beings of the universe appears all my lotus and moon disk. On them the syllable tree from which appears a noble Chenrezig. His clear and white body emits 5 colored rays. He smiles and looks upon us with compassion. Of his 4 hands the inner 2 are joined. Of the outer to the right holds a crystal mala, the left a white lotus. Garments and jewels adorn him with a discon of light covers his shoulder. To his back an immaculate moon disk embodies the essence of all refuges. He sits in the Vajra posture, the Buddha of limitless light crowns his head. You know, this might sound daffy, but I should probably transpose those images. And now the images are congruent with the words. So I think it could be fun right now, and this is completely optional, to blend these 4 lines with what I like to call geriatric step-back squat thrusts for aging fitness freaks. Wait, here we go. All the way up. Okay. All right. Do. More white in color, unstained by faults, a perfect Buddha adorning your head. You look upon all beings with eyes of compassion. Chin Rezi, we bow to you. Lord white in color, unstained by faults, a perfect Buddha adorning your crown. You look upon all beings with eyes of compassion. Chin Rezi, we bow to you. Lord white in color, unstained by faults, a perfect Buddha adorning your crown. You look upon all beings with eyes of compassion. Chin Rezi, we bow to you. Whew. That'll wake you up first thing in the morning. Whew. Woo! Let's see here. Hello from LaSalle, Illinois. Well, hello, Cosmic Love. Oh. There are many, many variations of Buddha bowing due to the deterioration or degeneration of my vertebrae. I can no longer do Tibetan-style Buddha bowing, so I've had to get creative. Do I do it out of fear? No. Do I do it out of virtualism? No. Do I do it because it's fun and invigorating and free? Exactly. After residing without distraction, the body of the noble Chenrezig emits light. The light dissipates her experiences of comically impure comparisons, jealousy, and erroneous understandings, pride. May the outer world become as safe as a real or imagined pure land of bliss. With each inhalation, may the body, speech, and mind of beings become as healthy, peaceful, and joyful as the body, speech, and mind of the archetype Lord Chenrezig. With each exhalation, may appearances, sensations, sounds, and cognitions feel as non-graspable as if they were one in their empty nature. So many people are curious what the mantra actually means. Om I invoke love's whisper, filling Mani jewel and letting go's purifying Padme lotus, whom may all beings master this path. So that's it. A reminder that love, a reminder of the power of love and the healing offered by the wisdom of letting go. So now we come to mantra meditation, which is known by many names, including Tantra Mahamudra, or Tokol's leapfrog over our competitive tendencies, which are obstructions to enlightenment. Let us bring our experience of the mental into the path of love. So, in Buddhism, whether you practice Theravadan, Mahayana, or Tantric Buddhism, the Buddha taught there were 4 bases of mindfulness: the mental, the interpersonal, the physical, and the circumstantial. And that there were 2 mindsets of enlightenment. There was the conventional bodhicitta of motivational, aspirational, and behavioral love. And then there was the conventional bodhicitta of mindfulness and meditation. So in other words, love and letting go. So that's what we're doing. First, we're going to bring the 4 bases of mindfulness into the path of love, and then into the path of letting go. So we begin by using words to guide our intention. May each being or Chitta be as joyful as the mind of a real or imagined Buddha. During each inhalation, we silently and mentally recite the essentialization of that chant. Buddha joy for each mind. It's not our job to believe or visualize or emote. It is our job to silently and mentally recite this intention as we breathe in, and to physically relax as best we can while whispering the 6-syllable mantra during our exhalation. This is like doing push-ups for our empathy. Every healthy vertebrate life form on the planet is born with an empathy center. We are already wired for love. All we have to do is get out of our own way. May all relationships, communication, all speech be as peaceful. As a real or imagined Buddha's voice embellished by a full mantra. May each body often be as healthy as the real or imagined form or rupa of an enlightened archetypal yidam such as kind gaze. So, form is a monosyllabic synonym for body. And kind gaze is the archetype that whose iconography we're using as the armature of our similes and metaphors. May all circumstances or lots be as full of safety or safe as a... Oh, the joys of editing in real time, eh, folks? May all circumstances or lots be as safe as a real or imagined Buddha's paradise, pure land or Vati. The author of this text wrote many centuries ago, while meditating on the meaning of this, recite the mantra as much as you can. We now switch gears from love to letting go. But first, let's take a moment to remind ourselves what emptiness really means. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we notice during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a beautiful cloudless morn, which, although compelling to the eye, is not graspable to the hand. And now we're going to play with 8 rhetorical questions, 4 chanted and 4 silent. You see, if we practice love and just stop, that could fuel our neurosis of pulling and pushing. But when we practice love and then practice letting go, that prevents needless neurosis. How is it that as we inhale, we could perceive our mind's functions quite clearly? What functions are those? As mentioned before, perception of sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like, including emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a Buddha's real or imagined mind comprised only of light. How is it that as we inhale, the interpersonal experience of communication could be quite resounding? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, it could feel as non-graspable as a mantra of light. How is it that as we inhale, our bodies or forms could feel quite sensual? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as an archetype or idiom such as kind gaze of light. So while we're at it, this archetype of compassion has many names. In English, kind gaze. In Tibetan, Chain Rezik. In Sanskrit, Avalokiteshvara. How is it that as we inhale, all circumstances could appear quite vivid? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a paradise, pure land of arti of light. At the end, without conceptualizing the three spheres of actor, action, and recipient, rest evenly in your own nature. How do we do that? The key to practicing mindfulness is to allow our sympathetic nervous system not to practice active concentration, but instead perception, vulnerable, passive, visceral, and random, during each exhalation. And to then practice meditation, wherein our parasympathetic nervous system mentally releases and physically relaxes with each exhalation, so much so that as we relax into each exhalation, whatever we noticed during the previous inhalation can now feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast, empty void. Therefore, during our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite this, and during each exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite void. That is the one-syllable meditation. If you feel like taking longer breaths, you can extend this to the phrase, notice this, and you can extend void to the word emptiness. That is the three-syllable version. And if you really feel like you're getting beaten up by your like you're lashed to the mast and being accosted by the sirens, then you can always replace the phrase, notice this, here it is, notice this, with another three-syllable word. Emotion, intention, cognition, remember, or imagine. Or if you're feeling something more subtle, watching this, hearing this, feeling this, tasting this, smelling this. Your best bet is to stick to something simple. Notice this emptiness or this void. How you know when to do something more precise? When you feel like you're getting beat up. and you feel like someone is slapping you about the head and shoulders, metaphorically speaking. So we're going to sit here, hopefully for the better part of an hour, and for the first 20 or 30 minutes, our mind's just going to basically be blissed out. That's an automatic process because of the chanting we just did. And that bliss experience is known as tigle, or drop, or bindu mahamudra. And eventually that bliss will give rise to thoughts and emotions and perceptions. Perceptions of sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, and minds. Emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings. And that's called trek cho, or slice through, or sutra mahamudra. They're not better or worse than each other. They're just the way our mind works. And so as we sit here with the basic meditation, this void, whatever comes, we let it come. Whatever goes, we let it go. Whatever stays, we let it stay. You may feel pleasurable sensations behind your navel. You may feel pleasurable sensations behind your sternum. It's not your job to generate sensations or hold on to them. Just silently and mentally recite this and void in harmony with each inhalation, exhalation, and relaxation. And everything else will take care of itself. Our job is neither to chase bliss nor frighten away perceptions, intentions, emotions, cognitions, recollections, or imaginings. Our job is to sit back and enjoy the show. think of it this way. Our job is not to shove at the ugly and reach for the beautiful, but to simply notice and release sights. Our job is not to, let's put it another way. Our job is not to shove at the ugly, discordant, painful, bitter, or stinky. Nor is it to chase after the beautiful, harmonious, pleasurable, delicious, or fragrant, but to simply notice sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents as such. And the same could be said with the pleasures and pains of emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings, without getting stuck in the duality of those which we'd rather shove and those which we'd rather pull towards us. We're just experiencing them generically. That doesn't mean we lie to ourselves about what we feel. It just means we handle the labels gingerly. That doesn't mean we lie and tell ourselves that something painful is pleasurable. It doesn't mean we lie and tell ourselves that something that pleasurable is painful. We just use generic labels. That helps us to step over the landmine of duality. And the duality we're referring to is the duality of pulling and pushing. There is a lie, a stinky, smelly lie, that if we were truly masters of wisdom, we would never experience anything unpleasant. And if we did, it wouldn't bother us. Malarkey. We are wired to feel the full spectrum of human emotions, from the glorious to the grotesque, from the interesting to the boring. The test of wisdom is not what we perceive, but what we do with that which we perceive. I check for questions approximately once every 8 minutes. So if I do not answer your question immediately, please do not take it personally. Here's a riddle. Why did Vince Lombardi, the famous coach of the Green Bay Packers, proclaim that fear makes cowards of us all? The answer is simple. Beliefs are contrivances of intellect and emotion, and they require a lion's share of energy to maintain. When that energy supply wavers, either from fatigue or an outside influence, then those beliefs crumble like a house of cards in a windstorm. That is why upon the Buddha's path, instead of relying upon beliefs, we rely upon the most fundamental mechanism of our central nervous system, our autonomic nervous system, which does not depend upon belief. As long as our bodies are alive, with each in-breath we can notice, with each out-breath we can release. That will free us from the tyranny of the lower emotions and grant us access to empathy. And everything else could take care of itself. How many times can you use a hammer to pound a nail? As many times as you want. How many times can you use a very expensive Waterford crystal wine flute to pound a nail? The answer is for one swing. When we use Waterford crystal for something it was not designed for, it does not perform well. Our prefrontal cortex is excellent at planning and problem solving and doing math and checking for grammar. It's exceptional at that. But it's terrible at managing our emotions. And when we try to talk ourselves out of what we feel or believe, we run the danger of exhausting our prefrontal cortex, which can produce the symptoms of depression, and which I would not recommend. But we can use our sympathetic nervous system and our parasympathetic wisdom for for as long as we live. For whatever perceptions, emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings do cartwheel across the stage of our mind. Please respect your body's limitations. This isn't a workout. You don't get bonus points for pushing yourself and gutting through. Meditate with me for as long as it is pleasurable. When you grow fatigued, then simply log off the live stream. I'm here at least every 12 hours. You can't miss me. I'm like a stain on the carpet. A stain on the carpet of YouTube. I should put that on a business card, huh? So come here. I'm here every 12 hours, live or recorded. And sit with me in meditation for as long as it is physically delightful. And when you honor your body, you'll notice that you'll be able to effortlessly sit longer and longer and longer. Push yourself and you run the risk of developing a clinical aversion. Respect your body's messages, and your body will reward you. Hello, Cosmic Love. Let us seal this evening's practice with some chanting. May my body and others' body be as healthy as the body of Chinrazik. May all sounds be as peaceful as a six-syllable melody. And may all mental activity be as joyful and free as the domain of great wisdom. By the virtue of this practice, may I quickly master Chenrezig's enlightenment. Then establish in this state the totality of beings. By the merit of this meditation and recitation, may I and those related to me through intention, as soon as we die, be miraculously born in Sukhavanti, immediately traverse it in Bodhisattva bhumis, and through emanations benefit all beings in the 10 directions. If you feel that I have earned it, you could type something in the chat window. You could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could share it with a friend. You could even help support this channel on Patreon. In approximately 11 3/4 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's early morning lesson and meditation. Until then, may you and yours be happy and healthy. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.